Hello everyone. Today we will be deploying Twenty CRM, which is a nice open source alternative to HubSpot, and it's free if it's self-hosted. We'll also deploy a managed private Postgres database and a managed private Redis. I will also be using custom domain this time, so we won't be using the default .redu.cloud domain. So let's begin. So I'll be using the plan mode this time with Shift Tab. Let's first plan it. I have a slightly larger prompt. You can see everything. And I told it here to wait for my confirmation after I add DNS records. So here I'm just going to change network solutions because Cloudflare is actually where I set it up, where I need to add DNS records. And let's see in a while what it plans for us. And here you can see I added YOLO mode later, and it says the deployment flow should run in YOLO mode with no extra approval gate, but only after the DNS.txt is in place and Redu verifies the actual domain. Also, I purposefully added things to Docker Compose, and because I said I wanted managed private Postgres and Redis, it will change the Docker Compose. And now it's almost done. We can see the summary, and we can see what we need to do on Cloudflare in this case, some implementation changes, and some other things. Also, what the verification will consist of. So it will deploy 20 CRM on Redu as a production style SaaS, and below that we can see the proposed plan. So I'll just add this DNS record to Cloudflare, and then we can continue. So I'm happy with the plan, and I'll just say implement the plan, and we'll wait for a while. Okay, so we can now see that the Docker Compose file, and that it will have 20 CRM service and a worker, so no Postgres and Redis because it will deploy them separately and privately. The production compose is in place, and now we're going to YOLO mode. Here we can also see the cost, it's too small, and one large VM, which I'm fine with, so I won't interfere. So let's give it some time. Okay, so now we can see it is implemented and verified, and it is verified upon things we agreed on before, as we saw in verification section of the deployment plan. So we can see that the deployment failed twice, and it of course self-healed, and now it just needs our approval to delete the failed deployments, which I will give it now. And so just for my own sanity, I will just ask it if it now works, or just let it confirm that it actually works despite of the failed deployments. And so I'll just wait a second, and yes, it confirmed, and it tells us that the failed deployments failed before even becoming useful, but they may still have associated failed app VM records. So now what I can do is just tell it to delete them and delete everything connected to those failed deployments. And we'll just wait a bit and see when it's finished. Okay, so it deleted deployment 321, but the deployment 320 was already gone, so it just didn't do anything. But we now know that both failed deployments are deleted. So let's now show how the actual deployment looks and if everything works. So let's just copy the URL, and if I can, and we'll open it in the browser. Let's just paste the URL, and I'll give it my email, and then we'll quickly set it up. Let's set a name for workspace test, Okay, I want to skip this. I'll set the name as John Doe, for example, and let's make him an engineer. Also gonna skip this. And here you can see all from our Postgres seed, so it's targeting the correct private database. So I'll just quickly log in to console redu.cloud, to my account, just to confirm that we have 3 separate VMs. And yeah, we have 20 CRM app, we have Redis 20 CRM and DB 20 CRM. One large, two small, and here we can see the actual DNS name. And I will see you in the next video.